Welcome to episode 14 of Secret City Geek Lab, your resource for everything geek. We'll talk movies, TV, comic books, video games, and anything geek. I'm your host, Alan Ng, and you'll hear from me and members of the improv comedy group Secret City Comic Society. This week, we're going to feature member Joey Shope with his reviews. Today's show is brought to you by Secret City Comic Society, the best in all ages improv comedy in downtown Fullerton. Visit Secret City Comic Society and the Geek Lab at secretcitycomedy.com. Coming up this week, we've got a lot going on. First is a review of Mickey and the Magical Map, a new show at Disneyland. Coming up next is a preview of Arrested Development on Netflix. We have a review and interviews from the cast of that show, Arrested Development. We also have an interview with Sheika and a lot more. But let's first start off with a trip to Disneyland and the new show, Mickey and the Magical Map. It's performing every day at the Fantasyland Theater in Disneyland. Prepare yourself for a magical adventure into the heart of imagination as you join Mickey Mouse on a thrilling live musical show. With the Magical Map as your guide, you and Mickey will find yourself in the middle of a fantastic world of excitement, color, beloved characters, and some favorite songs. Plus new songs, soon to be your favorite. See familiar friends, delight in the special appearances by some of your favorite Disney characters and stories, including King Louie from The Jungle Book, Pocahontas from Pocahontas, Mulan, Rapunzel, and Flynn Rider from Tangled, and Tiana from The Princess and the Frog. I had a chance to see the show with my 5-year-old daughter, and here's what we thought. Mickey and the Magical Map is basically what it is. It's a show that features your favorite Disney songs and characters, and they're strung together by a story. This story is basically Mickey as the apprentice of the sorcerer and map maker Yensid. Mickey wants to become a full-fledged map maker, but just before finishing the map, Mickey must color a final spot. But that spot comes alive and won't let him be colored. And then Mickey goes and chases that spot on a magical adventure on his magical map. Now, getting into the show itself, the centerpiece of the show is a giant stage. It's a 3-level stage. When you first enter the theater, you see this giant piece. Best way to describe it is I would say a giant screen with 3 levels, and it's covered by a tarp. As the show begins, the tarp is pulled back, and you see basically a giant video screen. The screen is divided into 3 levels, and performers are able to stand on each level and dance and sing and do whatever they need to do. As you step back, though, from that stage, and you pull yourself far away back, you should be looking at the back of each of the levels of stage is a video screen. And when you pull back, you should see like one screen, so that when Yensid appears, he appears, parts of him on all 3 levels, and they all kind of connect together. I'm thinking you get the idea here. Let's see. Now, another thing is that they're utilizing, and they've done this for a while with some of their shows, but this is, I think, the first full-fledged show here at Disneyland where it utilizes the animated Mickey heads, or the animated heads. Basically, when Mickey comes on stage, his mouth moves and his eyes blink in sync with whatever's going on in that story. As Mickey does his movements and interacts, he ultimately becomes this 3D character and then is brought into the screen to the back for magical moments, but becomes a high-def 2D Mickey, which is not as cool as having the real thing standing in front of you. So Mickey goes off into his little adventure, and what happens? He's brought into various areas of his map, and that brings our full numbers. The first number is I Want to Be Just Like You, featuring King Louie from the movie Jungle Book, not Jungle Cruise. Now, before I had a chance to get bored of this number, King Louie comes out, and he's got that same animated mask. His eyes move, his mouth moves along with the music, and they begin a really good dance number, and that's basically one of Disney's strong points, is they have strong choreography, strong songs, great choreography. A lot of kids, my daughter really loved what was going on. And then midway through the song, a trumpeter comes out and does an actual live performance along with the music with the trumpet. It was a real surprise, and it was a real delight to watch. Then you move on to various other scenes. There's a Under the Sea scene with Sebastian from The Little Mermaid. And then there's the highlight moment of the show, and that's the princess portion. We see three of our favorite princesses. First, Pocahontas, who sings Colors of the Wind. Oh, I'm sorry, Just Around the River Bend? Well, it's one of those two. And then Mulan comes up singing Reflections. And then finally, Rapunzel and Flynn Rider come out and sing their song. My daughter just absolutely loved this part. She began singing along with each of the princesses. That's ultimately what this show is just a showcase of Disney shows. The highlight, especially for my kid, was the final number, and that was with Tiana from Princess and the Frog, the good old New Orleans number. As far as theme park stage shows goes, Mickey and the Magical Map is probably above average. Most of the shows that have occurred in the Fantasyland Theater have been just full-on telling of a tale. I think the last really big one was Snow White. Before that was Pocahontas. And then before that was Beauty and the Beast. And I believe Beauty and the Beast was the one that was run the longest. And this is basically a review show. And again, Disney can do no wrong. Fun show. Kids will love it. My only thing is that this whole magical map and chasing the dot and stuff like that, it's a fairly weak plot point. If you just overlook that and enjoy yourself, you'll have a good time. My suggestion is to show up at least an hour before shows if you're having moderate crowds. If it's an especially crowded day, you may want to show up a little bit earlier than that. Other than that, you're going to have a great time. Don't miss Mickey and the Magical Map. Here's some guest reactions from that show when it was played afterwards. You're listening to KTST-FM. I'm Alan, and this is the Secret City Geek Lab. Coming up next, we are going to talk Arrested Development, a new TV show found on Netflix. Netflix is breaking new grounds. They've started with House of Cards, where they took an entire season of a show and put it all on Netflix. So you can watch the entire season in one shot, or you can wait every week and watch every episode. Doesn't matter. You can watch an entire season at your own pace. Another thing that Netflix has done is they've dared to revive a show that people loved, but was ultimately canceled by Fox many years ago. Arrested Development is that show, and they not only are producing a TV series, but they're producing a movie as well, and I believe that movie is going to hit the theaters. So not only are they reviving an old show, but now they're taking a new approach as to how they tell this story for the season. Most shows you see today are kind of a traditional linear. You start from point A to point B. But in this case, you start from beginning to end, and the episodes during that season takes place at various points within that time frame and from various viewpoints and points of view of characters. We have a review of Arrested Development, but before we get to that review, we had a chance to interview the cast of Arrested Development in London, and I want to take a moment to play some of these interviews. First interview is with David Cross. We asked him We asked him about how the episodes on Netflix play out. It's a pretty unique concept, and just want to get a better idea of how this works. And here's what he had to say.
Each episode focuses on a character in the show, but everybody threads through everybody else's episode, so you'll be able to go look at episode 8 and go, oh, wait a minute, go back to episode 2 and go, that's right, because he was riding by on a bicycle, that's why he went. And you can sort of follow people as you choose, and you'll learn new things based on that particular character's episode, because you'll see it shot from a different angle, and different information will be available that you didn't see the first time. People everywhere have seen it. It really is a huge, hardcore, appreciative, massive fan base, and I've lived in London for the better part of 2 years, and I don't think more than a day and a half went by when somebody didn't, shout out Tobias or something about Arrested. So I mean, yeah, we knew the fan base was huge here too,
Oh, it's great. We've been texting each other all day. It's wonderful. It's been terrific. So it's like a family. I mean, the Bluth family. I think they'll be very happy. I have a big spoiler alert, but I think they're going to be very happy. The Bluths are really in trouble. I mean, really. We got our ass in a bind. Can you say ass on TV? I think so. We'll find out.
It's kind of how I watch TV,
In a binge format.
Yeah, in a binge format. It's a new addiction, It's basically we're the generation that got to witness the birth of the addiction to
It's entertainment.
content. Yeah.
Yeah. Netflix is a good company. They're doing
Netflix
really
is
well.
a great company.
Netflix is the best company.
It's a wonderful company,
Yeah.
great company, and there's nothing like good company.
Crazy. Our last show that we shot was 7 years ago. So to come back has been very surreal, but super fun. Well, it's great because for binge watching, like you can watch them all at once, which I think is what happened a lot of the time. People watch them all at once. So it makes it perfect. It's pretty top secret. But the thing is, I don't really want to tell because I remember watching Lost a long time ago and somebody mentioned a little thing to me and I was like, crap, it ruined the surprise. So I kind of don't want to ruin the surprise because there's going to be a lot of surprises.
The show is absolutely crafted to be watched in multiple episodes, and in a perfect scenario in many episodes. So where these shows are the episodes you'll see, they're very intertwined, the storylines, the jokes are set up in one episode and pay off in another, and in another episode they add 3 or 4 different layers on top of the joke. And it's just an incredibly well thought out, deeply complex, but really rewarding piece of comedy. The fantasy is always that you bring back someone's favorite show. And then people talk about it all the time, and there's all kinds of attempts to do it. It's so rare that it actually happens, and I'm on a lot of people's Christmas list.
So you'll flash back to that, but you'll see it from every character's perspective.
What's in store for today? I know it's really good. Are you getting used to this again? I know you launched it in the States and you had this, but how does it feel to be back on the...
In New York.
Yes, we're going to be in...
Someone that's going to take it.
I am beyond excited. I may pass out just being near the banana stand. Like, emotionally, I cannot cope with it.
For the rest of development, I bloody love the show so much. It is just incredible. I'm so excited right now. I'm just so excited. It's going to be a marathon because it comes out at midnight, so I've taken the next day off and stuff, so it's just going to be a marathon of Arrested Development like the whole night, and like I'm not going to sleep for a while.
Well, I'm so excited for the new premiere of the show. It's probably the funniest show I've ever seen in my life. I think the only show I've ever choked on food laughing at so hard.
So you see the Geek Lab, we're talking Arrested Development with Joey. Tell us, have you seen the whole season?
Yeah, I've seen all of season 4.
All right, so give us kind of a brief overview of the season.
Well,
the plot line.
The plot line. Well, that's actually pretty interesting about this season. Rather than being a traditional episodic season, this season, every episode is devoted to one character. For example, there's a Michael Bluth episode, there's a George Michael episode, there's a Maybe episode, and they're all on the same timeline, but there's a lot of jumping around. Right. The pinnacle point in this season is the Cinco de Cuatro party, which is, again, a joke in the series. It's kind of hard to explain. Essentially, they want to stop Cinco de Mayo, so they have one right the day before. That's the pivotal point in the entire season. But then you have, jump back to 6 months beforehand, the day beforehand, 3 weeks beforehand. You see a lot of jumping around in the timeline.
Are you a big fan of Arrested Development?
I was a huge fan after it was already canceled. I remember going to Blockbuster and renting the entire series one weekend and watching it all in one weekend.
Okay, so how do you feel about season 4? You love it, I can tell.
Well, let me put it this way. I remember in season 4 of Arrested Development was just the fever dream of a madman. It was just rumors, it was myths. And then when it started kind of getting towards it, I was getting really excited. And all this build-up and tension towards the season 4 coming out. I got, I think, too overexcited about season 4 and kind of,
hyped yourself up too much.
Hyped myself up a little bit too much. Not blatantly, though, but it was still an interesting season. Let me put it this way. It wasn't as funny as the earlier 3 seasons, but I think it's a lot more interesting because of the time jumps, because of you see point of views from different characters.
Right. So they're taking a different plot vehicle. For season 4 than they did in the previous 3 seasons.
The first season's pilot, the second episode, third episode, fourth episode.
It's all linear.
Yeah, it's all completely linear, where this one's kind of jumping around, which makes it a little bit more interesting. And what I kind of liked about it was sometimes they set up a joke at 6 months beforehand in one episode, and then in the future, the punchline's paid off, which I think is pretty interesting, but only a diehard Arrested Development fan is be able to point it out.
So in some way, it kind of weakens.
It does. Because a lot of the first 3 seasons was set up punchline, or set up a couple more scenes, then punchline.
Something we're all used to.
Yeah, something more traditional format. Which again, Arrested Development was never known to be traditional, but they were more traditional than this 4th season. That being said, I did laugh out loud. I thought there was some parts. I think Job's episode is probably the funniest one. But a lot of this towards the end of the season, without going to spoilers, they're setting up a lot for this movie coming out.
Okay. So from a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate Arrested Development Season 4?
7.
This is Secret City Geek Lab. I'm Alan, and you're listening to KTST-FM. Okay, that was Arrested Development television news. Now we're moving into comic books. And coming back to the Long Beach Comic Con that I attended a couple weeks ago, I had a chance to talk to upcoming artist Sheika Lugtu, and we spoke about her website, omgcow.com. Sheika is an artist blog about her journey to become a full-fledged artist. And here's that interview. So I'm with Sheika at the Long Beach Comic Con. Tell me a little about your artwork and your book here, OMG Cal Comic Diary.
Hi, so OMG Cal Comic Diary is basically a diary of my life. I started 3 years ago and decided to go back to school to be an artist, and it chronicles my journey, my struggles, trying to figure out what I'm doing. Am I doing it right? I just want to inspire people to show them what can be done, show them what's possible, because when I decided to go back to school, I was also following other comic artists who were sharing of their lives, and it really inspired me and convinced me that this is a possibility and I could do this, and this is what I want to share with other people.
Alright, so this is kind of your diary. Are you looking for something bigger in the future?
Well, in the future I'll be actually going to school. I'm transferring to Chicago, and I'm hoping to do all the conventions there also. And once again, I'm also following the diary with me to give people an inside look on art school. I know as an artist, a lot of people feel like, should I go to art school? Is it even a worthwhile experience? I can't answer questions like that, but I can share my experience so people can get what they want out of that.
What kind of experience has popped out at you recently?
Well, definitely getting in there. For a long time I wasn't even thinking of going to art school, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to try to apply. Who knows what will happen? And then I got in, and it's like, well, I'm not going to go. It's in Chicago. It's miles away, but here I am, and I'm working towards going there. And a lot of people ask me, how did you do that? Well, that's what the comic answers.
All right, cool. How can we find you on the internet, or how can we get your books?
I am all over the internet at omgcow.com. That basically is my website, which leads you to my store online, my blog, everything.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, Alan.
That was Sheika Lugtu, and I would say that if you are aspiring to be an artist, trying to be an artist for a full-time living, definitely check out Sheika's website. That's omgcow.com. You can also see her work at facebook.com /Sheikasaurus Rex. That's SHEIKASAURUSREX. Coming up next is a video game review. Can't have a week without a video game review, and we're talking about Dorritos Crash Course 2. Released in May 8th of 2013. Publisher is Microsoft Studios. This is a downloadable game onto the Xbox platform. It features 4 offline players. You can play online with 2 to 4 players, and you can also take part in the leaderboard. Dorritos Crash Course 2 is a sequel to the XBLA smash hit Dorritos Crash Course. Run, jump, slide, and wall jump your avatar through 4 new worlds of irreverent obstacles, traps, and pitfalls. In this 2.5 platformer, compete for medals and find stars to progress. Use your stars to unlock new courses, power-ups, and vanity items. Compare your best times up against 3 asynchronous game clips from your friends. And here's a review, again, from Joey Shope. Secret City Geek Lab Video Game Report. What's the name of the game we're talking about, Joey?
The name of the game that we're talking about is the Dorritos Crash Course 2.
All right.
The long-awaited sequel.
There was a Dorritos Crash Course 1.
Yeah, apparently.
Which we all played. All right, so tell me about what is Dorritos Crash Course 2?
Well, let me first off by stating that it is a free game. This will cost you nothing. It takes up very little space on your Xbox. Essentially, it takes your Xbox 360 avatar and puts them through kind of like a Wipeout kind of course. You know, you're making your avatar run and jump, do certain things. You know,
is this a Kinect game or is it a?
No, it's a straight up just regular controller game. Okay. I don't have a Kinect. You may be able to, but I don't think so.
What's the basic idea of the game?
You're just trying to get to the end the first. You're playing up against other people, but for the most part you're playing up against CPU. And so you're trying to beat the CPU to get first. But each level has their own select challenges. For example, in one level, if you go through the entire level with without grabbing any kind of ledge, then you get some bonus stars. And stars is kind of like the currency in this game. So you get a lot of coins, and then you can buy upgrades. You can buy certain items that help you out one time.
Like Cool Ranch.
Yes. You don't have to pay for this game, but might I recommend buying some Cool Ranch Dorritos or
Nacho Flamin' Dorritos.
Or a Nacho... or the original classic nacho.
Yes. We were waiting for that check from PepsiCo, right?
Yeah.
All right, so until that check... when that check arrives, what do you rate Dorritos Crash Course 2?
Well, waiting for this check, I'll give the game a perfect 10 out of 10.
All right, and if that check never arrives?
6 out of 10.
All right, very good. Secret City Geek Lab, I'm with Joey. Dorritos Crash Course 2. This is KTSTFM, I'm Alan, and we're listening to the Secret City Geek Lab, and got some geek news coming up. If you go to our website at secretcitycomedy.com/geeklab, you can look at some stories going out there. We posted it's an undercover report about disabled tour guides at Disneyland. If you go on Craigslist, you can cut in line if you hire these disabled tour guides. They pull out their disabled pass, and they'll take you right to the front of the line. Unfortunately, Disneyland has banned this practice, and if caught, you could have your tickets revoked, and you'll be suspended from the park for an indefinite period of time. Also, finally, Facebook, they are now introducing verified accounts, just like Twitter is doing, so that when you go to Facebook and you look up someone like George Takei, you'll see a little checkbox by his name, and you'll know that that is actually George Takei, or that is the Disneyland website or the Marvel website. It's just a way to authenticate that these people are who they say they are, and then you can trust any content having come from them. Also, Superman is celebrating his 75th birthday, and DC is going to be publishing a new 75th logo, and you can see that logo at secretcitycomedy.com/geeklab. Well, this has been episode 14 of Secret City Geek Lab, and it's brought to you by Secret City Comic Society, Fullerton's best all-ages improv comedy. Come back next week for more news and updates in the world of geekdom and nerdity. Also, visit us online at for daily geek news and reviews at secretcitycomedy.com/thegeeklab. Big thank you to Joey Shope for being a part of tonight's show, and until then, we will see you next week.